it's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with this week's episode of the Rogue Roundup. It's back. This is the series in which I give my picks on Legacy, Standard, Pioneer, Modern, and Commander for specs that I think are going to go up. Starting off this week, we are going to pick another foil out of Commander, and this is an uncommon out of Core 2020, the Moldervine Reclamation. I typically like these type of cards, especially from the core sets in the uncommon slot that have a lot of play in Commander. This is used in about 15% of all green-black decks, which is quite significant when you think about all of the very popular commanders in either Sultai or green-black. The Marins and the Atraxas, a lot of the Golgari Sacrifice or Jund Sacrifice commanders want to play cards like Moldervine Reclamation as their go-to draw engines. And so for this reason, I'm liking Moldervine Reclamation as one of those steady increases over time. I think this is the low that you're going to be able to get in on the Moldervine Reclamation. I target these at 50 cents, and that's about what the buy lists are paying for them. So this is another one that you want to check your local game store's bulk bins, or just check to see if people have these in foils. They might not think that they are worth much money, and they're easy to acquire them. So I'm expecting this card to be $2 to $3 when it rotates next year in Standard, and will continue to have a nice increase unless this card gets reprinted. Next up, we have Legacy. Legacy, I'm also going to pick an uncommon in foil, and this is Creeping Chill. So the theme of this particular Rogue Roundup is cards that see play in multiple formats, and Creeping Chill is now a card that sees play in Standard, sees play in Pioneer, sees play in Modern, and sees play in Legacy. Now, it doesn't see much play in both Standard or Pioneer, but there is instances of these cards seeing, or the Creeping Chill seeing play in Standard in an Arclight Phoenix self-mill deck. It also sees play in Pioneer in a Dredge, wannabe Dredge type shell, a self-mill type strategy. Sees play in Modern Dredge, as well as sees play in Legacy Dredge and Manaless Legacy Dredge. So I'm expecting the value of this card to continue to increase in value. It's at its low right now for some reason. I think it's just because Modern as a whole is on a lull. And the spread versus buy list is actually quite weak. The highest buy list is only paying $2 for this, and the Tishy market price is $4. So the growth rate's now down to flat. I don't think it's going to decrease much more. So I think getting in at around the $2.50 is a smart play for Creeping Chill, as a card that sees play in 4 different formats is hard to come by. And I think this card just keeps getting better and better with more self-mill or dredge type cards being printed in the various formats. So I'm looking at Pioneer to really adopt this card, especially since one of the premier strategies in Pioneer is aggro, and this is one of the ways the self-mill type strategies can keep up with the aggro-based decks, as well as have a utility card to do damage versus the control. So getting in at $2.50 I think is a smart play for this foil uncommon card. Next up, we have Modern. Modern, I have picked a card that, again, sees play in 4 different formats right now. I'd even include this in 5 different formats. This is Blast Zone. Blast Zone sees play in Commander, it sees play in Modern, in Legacy, in Pioneer, especially Pioneer, and in Standard. This would probably be higher up on my list if decks actually ran playsets of this card, but it's usually like a 1 of or a 2 of. And what makes this pretty good in both Modern and in Pioneer is Eldrazi's have solidified themselves as just staples in those particular metas. So it sees a lot of play in Eldrazi Tron or Modern Tron in the Modern format, and then in Standard it sees play in Control, and in Pioneer it sees play all over the place as the go-to sweeper in lands-based decks, especially in the Field of the Dead. This is a card that does see play in that deck. So the buy list versus the market price is pretty weak as well, with the highest buy list just being Card King of $1.80 and the market price being around $3. The card has been dropping in value. This is pretty typical of when we approach Christmas season with the singles market and Standard. Everything begins to cool off, especially cards as recent as War of the Spark, but I'm expecting this card to recover quite quickly. So picking up your Blast Zones is a very, very smart play at this point. I give this as a rating of a B+. Next up, we have Pioneer, and we have a card that just has started to take over the Pioneer format. It actually does see play occasionally in Legacy and also does see play in Modern. This was quite surprising to me. This is Elder Deep Fiend. So Elder Deep Fiend had a few breakout decks. The first one is called Emerging Phoenix, where you try to utilize the Rekindling Phoenix and the Flamewake Phoenix as ways to reduce the cost on the Elder Deep Fiend, and then you get either Rekindling Phoenix back or the Flamewake Phoenix back on the next turn, and then you have a very aggressive play at that point with a 4/3 flyer and a 5/6 Elder Deep Fiend that has tapped all of your opponent's blockers down. They're also playing this in the Pioneer Dredge version of decks that use the Prized Amalgam and other self-mill strategies or ramp strategies that you can sacrifice utility creatures to then use Elder Deep Fiend as a finisher. So this card is just rocketed in price. Is spiking currently, but I think that it hasn't seen the end to its spiking. Currently, the best buy list price is about 75 cents, and the market price is about $1.50, so we have that 50% spread. So I try to target these in the middle of that, around $1 or $1.25. And I'm expecting this card to be $3, $4, $5 before we really see the end of the Pioneer growth. Pioneer has started to cannibalize all the other formats, and there have been quadruple ups higher, even cards that have gone up 10 times their value. I think Elder Deep Fiend is going to follow that as it is from just Eldritch Moon, which has low supply in the scope of Pioneer. Last up, that leaves us with the best spec of the week, and this comes from Standard. Well, you can call it Standard, you can call it Pioneer, Legacy, Modern. This is a card that also sees play in all 4 formats. This is the Brazen Borrower. With the banning of Oko and Once Upon a Time, I think this is now going to be the chase card out of Throne of Eldraine. It is starting to see play in all 4 of those formats higher than it previously did. Standard has seen play as 4 of copies in the Is It Flash and some Azorius tempos or control lists. You see this all over the place in Pioneer, in various decks that just need an answer, a return target non-land permanent, then a threat. So mostly with alongside Spell Queller or other tempo-based strategies. I've even seen it in the Mono Blue Devotion decks. And then it is even seen play in Legacy and Modern. So this card has everything going for it with a Mythic out of Throne of Eldraine. I think Throne of Eldraine will stop being open now because of Oko and Once Upon a Time being banned, and both of those being in jeopardy of being banned in the Pioneer format as well. So I think that it's a good time to get in on Brazen Borrower. It's already started to climb in value, and I expect it to be spiking. So the spread is very, very low, razor thin at this point, with the best buy list paying $14 and the TC market price being around $16.50. So I'd be aggressive at targeting these anywhere from the $15 to $16 mark, and I think you're safe. This could be the next $35 card in Standard. It sees that much play throughout the other formats, and it's the perfect card to invest in because of the Legacy and beyond playability of this card. I hope you enjoyed this list of cards from this week's episode of the Rogue Roundup. Be sure to check back next week, or if you're a fan of this type of financial content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. What are your 5 cards you're going to be investing in? Be sure to check out my other channel over at roguedeckbuilder.com for our weekly Market Monday episode. Thanks for watching.